Today, we trended up just a little bit. As a matter of fact, we went back into the orange according to the state. Today, we had 13 cases in Daviess County, 13 new cases. That gives us a total of 10,558 cases. We're holding at 182 deaths. And thank God that with this vaccine being one of the most effective tools to fight against COVID, particularly for our seniors now, we're not seeing the huge number of deaths in Daviess County, nor in the state of Kentucky. The report is 36.4% of the total folks in Daviess County have been vaccinated. Now, that's all of our folks. That's 100% of the population. Actually, we're somewhere around 47% of those who are eligible to receive the vaccine have been vaccinated, which is pretty good compared to a lot of other communities. 76% of those who are 65 years of age or older have been vaccinated. So we're doing a pretty good job. I would encourage you to get out and get vaccinated if you have not already. You notice I didn't start today with a mask on. The CDC and as well as the governor have talked in terms of those who are fully vaccinated no longer need to wear masks. Now, that is true generally. As far as my wife and I are concerned, when we go out into public settings where we don't know who's been vaccinated or not, and I'm not going to ask who's been vaccinated or not, we still wear a mask, and particularly where there are large crowds of people. It's your choice as to whether you do or not. The CDC and the governor have both asked that if you're not vaccinated, that you continue to wear a mask. The problem with that is again, nobody's asking who's been vaccinated. We're not the vaccination police. We're not asking to see your vaccination card. So we're trusting people we think everyone's people of goodwill and they'll do the right thing. The governor has set June the 11th as the date where the vast majority of the restrictions that were put in place will end. With some exceptions, you still will have to wear a mask when you go in, even if you're vaccinated, when you go into a nursing home, into a jail or a prison, into a hospital. And I suspect that you will continue to have to wear a mask when you're on mass transportation, such as airplanes, trains, and those things. If you'll notice, the state overall current incident rate is 8.63 cases per 100,000. That's trending downward. Daviess County is at 10.8. As I said, we had been as low as 9.8 a couple of times in and out of the yellow. But the really good thing is that we're close. We're very close to getting permanently into the yellow. Jordan, make it smaller again, because one of the things that I really like to point out is you have only 2 counties that are in the red now. So 2 counties in the red, you've got 4 counties that are in the green, meaning that they have less than 1 case per 100,000. The vast majority of the counties are either in the green or the yellow. I think I counted up the other day, and we have, of the 120 counties that we had, that 85 of the counties were in yellow or green at that time. So we're doing a good job overall as a state. We need to continue to be vigilant. If you feel sick, go get tested. And I absolutely urge everyone who can to go and get a vaccination. The vaccinations are free. They absolutely will cost you nothing. Today, Owensboro Health will hold a COVID-19 vaccine clinic got the wrong one. Walk-in patients can get a COVID vaccine today at Owensboro Health Regional Hospital from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So all you do, walk in. If you're under the age of 18, a guardian is required. For those who are aged 12 to 17, you can go and learn more about vaccines or schedule an appointment for another day at owensborohealth.org vaccine. The other thing that's very interesting is this coming Friday, May the 21st, I guess, from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Owensboro Health will be running a free vaccine clinic. So again, these would be for those who are 18 and above. Those between the ages of 12 and 17 will need a guardian or a parent to sign for them to take it. So we're trying to make it as convenient and as easy in this community as we can make it for those who want to get vaccinated to go out and get their vaccine. I was on a call with the governor today, and I probably lost here we go, I find it. As a matter of fact, on the sheet right now, you can see there is a list of providers for vaccine where you can make appointments to show up and get vaccinated. You can, I just found what I was looking for. There is no reason if you need a ride, if you have no transportation, you can call our grids for transportation, give them 24-hour notice, and they'll provide free transportation to and from your vaccine. One of the things that since the vaccine's been around now for 6 months, actually they started vaccinating people back in December. One of the things that they found, and this is nationwide, is that deaths have started trending down, cases have started trending down, and this is nationwide, not just in our Commonwealth, but nationwide. They are also finding that the efficacy of the vaccine's ability to prevent COVID-19 and prevent transmissibility between people who are infected and those who aren't is even better than what they thought. They're also finding that the vaccine cuts down on passing of the virus and the negative or the bad side effects of people. So the vaccine, as I said last week, is the best tool that we have in our toolbox. That doesn't mean that social distancing, that avoiding large crowds and wearing a mask when you're in a large setting or don't know the status of those people aren't effective and aren't good. It's just that the vaccine is even better. So I encourage each and every one of you to get out, get your vaccine. I'd like to see us get above 50% in Daviess County for those who are eligible for the vaccine. And we need to get our seniors into that 80-85%. It can be done because of some of our sister counties are there already. So with that, I want to take the opportunity to introduce Tristan. I'm trying to speak too quickly. Introduce Tristan Durbin, a young man who was selected by the airport board, close to a month ago, I guess, to be the chief executive officer of the airport board. So Tristan, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience there at the airport.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. So first off, I'm a very family-oriented person. I think I've got the best parents and family anyone could ask for. About a little over a year and a half ago, I married my wife, who I've been with since high school. So I'm originally from Utica, which is in Daviess County, obviously. Went to Apollo High School, graduated from there, where I ran cross country and track. Went on to Brescia University, and then during my sophomore year at Brescia, I started working out here at the airport part-time, working the Allegiant flights, at the ticket counter, loading bags, marshaling in aircraft in and out. And then about a year after that, a full-time maintenance position opened up, and I was fortunate enough to be able to slide over to that position. From then on, I switched my learning from Brescia on campus to being a member of the BU online community of Brescia.
Go Bearcats! Go Bearcats!
That's right. So I stayed a full-time student at Brescia in order to still graduate within the 4-year time period while I was working full-time out at the airport in the maintenance personnel. After that, for about 2.5 years, I moved into the operations manager role, where I was there for just over 2 years as well. And then after that, during that time as operations manager, really allowed me to see exactly how an airport was supposed to run, learn the in and outs of the airport and in various different facets, from construction projects to working with our partners with the Federal Aviation Administration and Transportation Security Administration, our local tenants and users. So I gained a vast knowledge of not only airports, but our airport and our community as well through that process. And then, as you mentioned, just over a month ago, I was appointed the director. So I've served in various different roles of the airport.
Okay, well, I know that the airport board's pretty high on you. You look like you're not even dry behind the ears, so you're fairly young. But I can tell you somebody who absolutely is in your corner, and that's the former CEO of the airport, Bob Whitmer. Bob came in and talked to me actually before you were selected, and told me what a great young man you were. And then in my interview with you, my conversation, I have to concur with Bob that certainly you are capable of running the airport. Now, the airport board selected you. That's their job. You are in charge of selecting the people that work for you at the airport and with you, for and with you at the airport board. And I just read in the newspaper this morning that you had hired someone new. Tell us about that person.
Correct. Well, first off, back to Bob Whitmer, I want to say that, I think Bob Whitmer is one of the greatest people I've ever met. And there's very few people that I respect as much as I do Bob Whitmer. He's a fantastic person. But yeah, so I recently promoted Jared Lanham, who was formerly our maintenance supervisor. He had been in the maintenance staff role for about a year and a half whenever our former maintenance director retired. And we hired Jared. At the time, Rob Barnett hired Jared Lanham into the maintenance director role, where he did a fantastic job and, excelled in every facet of the job at maintenance supervisor. And once the job opened up for the operations manager role, which I was formerly in and moved out of, he showed a lot of interest in it and thought that he could bring a lot to the table for the operations manager role. And he saw an opportunity to advance himself and his family and to also really bring a lot to the table for the airport. And he's also a product of Daviess County. I believe he graduated from Owensboro Catholic.
Well, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the airport. You probably haven't been around long enough to know the answers, but hopefully you can give us some insight. So how long has the Owensboro-Daviess County Airport been around?
So when was it established? Yeah, it was established back in 1949, and commercial flights began early March of 1951 on Eastern Airlines, which would fly you to Louisville and to Evansville.
Okay. Ozark was one of those airlines that was here as well. I'll never forget in 1970, it was in 1969. I happened to get on one of those airlines, flew down the runway. I swear I could look down at the bottom of the plane and see the snow-covered runway as it went by me. It was probably Eastern because we flew to Louisville. From there, I flew to Atlanta, and from there to Augusta, Georgia for my next time of our tour of duty in the Army. So how long, we keep hearing about all the improvements that we've done at the airport. I know prior to becoming judge, the runways were improved. How long a runway do we have out there now?
Yeah, so we have an 8,000-foot main primary runway that we use for commercial service. So it's 8,000 foot long by 150 foot wide. It is a high precision runway, so it allows for large aircraft such as Airbus with Allegiant Airlines to fly in. And we're very fortunate to have a secondary crosswind runway that is still supported financially and by the Federal Aviation Administration. A lot of secondary runways are not being supported anymore, and a big accomplishment of the board was about a year ago we were able to secure funding to rehabilitate our secondary runway, which is 5,000 foot by 100 foot wide.
And when you said FAA, we still have a control tower out there, don't we?
Yes, sir, we certainly do, and they're staffed 365 days a year.
Yeah, and that's fairly unusual for a regional airport like ours. How does the length of our runway compare to runways on other airports, say Louisville, Northern Kentucky, some of the regional airport runways?
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have one of only 5 control towers in Kentucky, and we actually have the 3rd longest runway in Kentucky behind Cincinnati and Louisville. Ours is a little bit longer than Lexington's. So we do have the third largest runway and one of 5 control towers in Kentucky. So that's
Okay,
something
that I would assume the control tower and the long runway is critical to having Allegiant fly in and out of Owensboro-Daviess County. Uh, also back, I don't know, was it 5 years ago, Davis County, 6 years, 7 years ago? First of all, the runway, Senator Wendell Ford was instrumental in getting the funds for us to redo that runway in I don't know, 2015 maybe. We were able to get a multi-co severance grant, and we enlarged the waiting areas there at the terminal. I mean, it was pretty cramped if you're trying to fly out. I don't know if you were there then, but people were running everywhere. But we have really updated, and it's become a very pleasant experience flying out of that airport. Now, not everybody flies out on Allegiant. What other opportunities do we have to fly out of the Owensboro Airport?
Yeah, so we also, not like you mentioned, we have Allegiant who flies twice a week to Sanford, Orlando, and beginning next week on the 26th, they'll start flights 3 times a week to Sanford, Orlando. Be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But yes, we're also very proud to say that we are a partner of the Essential Air Service Program, which is a federally subsidized program to connect us to larger markets. So we have Cape Air as our provider there, and currently they're flying 7 days a week, twice a day to Nashville, and once a day to St. Louis. And in St. Louis, you can connect to 79 different airports, and in Nashville, you can connect to about 93. So, and that's a total of 8 different international destinations as well. So you truly can park here in Owensboro, pay $7 a night, walk 50 yards into the terminal, go through short, fast TSA lines, wait, and then you can truly connect to anywhere.
Yeah, I've flown. I've not flown Allegiant down to Florida. I flew Allegiant to Las Vegas when they were making that flight, and to be able to, as you said, 30 minutes, you're through the line, board the plane, you take off. But even greater is when you come home. Instead of having to drive all the way back from Louisville or all the way back from Nashville, you get your baggage and bang, you're out the door, and then your vehicle, and 15 minutes later, you're at home. So it's pretty cool. So we've talked about commercial aviation. What's the airport do or mean to general aviation in this community?
Yeah, so as far as general aviation, we've got about 50 based aircraft here, and that's, a lot of corporate tenants. We're proud to have Mid-America Jet as an FBO and Modern Transportation, Sterrett Transportation. We have Independence Bank on the field. So we have several community corporate businesses here on the field. We have several individual private aircraft as well. And then we're also proud to say that we have Eagle Flight Academy, which opened up a little bit over a year ago. They have 5 different aircraft and 5 different instructors. You can earn your private rating, your commercial, your multi-engine. So you can earn several different ratings as a pilot. And currently they have about 75 to 80 students that are actively flying and working towards those goals.
Okay. One of the questions, we just got a question on Facebook about the role of the airport board and who's serving on that board right now. The role of the airport board, number one, is to hire you. The one person that they hire is the chief executive officer. And as I said, then you hire all of your staff. So they look at you, they're only monitoring you. And if your staff isn't doing a good job, you're going to be called on the carpet. So that's one of the jobs they do. The other is that they set the direction and set the budget in conjunction with you. So they set policy and they set budget, and your job is to carry that out. And that's pretty much the role of the airport board. Now, who's serving on that board, I absolutely cannot tell you now because I don't have all their names in front of me. I believe the county appoints 5 members of that board, and the city appoints 5 members to the board. And quite frankly, I know Madison Silver, I believe, serves on that board, and he right now is the chair of the board. Clay Ford serves on the board. I believe that he is vice chair. we just appointed, oh, I can't think of his name now. Do you
Anton.
recall who?
Anton.
Anton, yes, Anton Smith Rouse or Rouse Smith. I get it reviewed. He became a member of that board. Several, Mickey,
Mickey Bowman.
Mickey, who?
Mickey Bowman.
Mickey Bowen serves on that board as one of ours. Who is the treasurer? Who does the work?
Brenda Clayton.
Brenda Clayton serves on the board. I'm naming them off because as I see their faces, but it's a pretty broad swath across the community. I know Antoine came to me and I never knew that he had some experience. I think he worked for Alaska Airlines.
He did.
And he actually worked in their local, not the big jets that fly everywhere, but the local flights that were going. And what do we have in Cape Air? A local flight. So I thought that he would be a great addition to that board. Charlie Caslin serves on the board now. So big swath of folks.
And a few others would be Doug Hoyt, Gene Wright, Senator Bowen.
Okay.
Bowen, and I think you'd mentioned the rest. Trying to remember everyone that you mentioned.
And if we missed any of you, we're sorry. We'll tell them next time.
Laura Muhlenberg.
Laura Muhlenberg, that's right. Yep. So there's a broad swath of people that serve on that board and do an excellent job.
Now I think we said Doug Hoyt, but I think that's all of them.
Yeah, I think we got to them. So, there's a new brand out there, isn't there?
Yeah, so it's Owensboro to Anywhere. You may have seen on the Owensboro Transportation Services buses, the OTS buses. Mm-hmm. And kind of to hit back on what I mentioned earlier, you can connect to 75 different locations out of St. Louis and 93 out of Nashville with a total of 8 international destinations. So you truly can, get to anywhere from your hometown airport at the Owensboro-Daviess County Regional Airport.
So it was recently announced that you guys got $1 million from the feds. I guess it was a COVID pandemic relief. What are you going to use that money for? People would like to know.
Yeah, so that was awarded to us from the Carissa Act. And that's going to allow us to accomplish some capital projects that we had not been able to do in the past few years. Some of those are roof repair and replacement on some of our hangars and other buildings out here at the airport. And then a lot of the other issues would be a lot of drainage issues that we've had over the years, and they've just, slowly gotten worse. And we want to take some of that money now and complete some of these capital projects that we haven't quite been able to complete in the past, that we're fortunate enough to be able to do now and put money back in the local economy through that grant. Now,
you also get another $1 million packet from the federal government because of your annual employment. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that annual employment is passengers that fly out of our airport. So when we accomplish more than 10,000 passengers flying out of our airport a year, we receive a $1 million entitlement grant that's given to us by the Federal Aviation Administration. That money is to be used for airport improvement projects or AIP projects, such as rehabilitating runways, working on lighting, different construction projects as far as maintaining all the taxiways. So it's a lot of infrastructure type of projects. They help pay for our new aircraft rescue and firefighting facility that we have right at the entrance of our front door. And it's a fantastic facility, as you know, Judge.
Right. Well, another question that just came in, and I can answer this question, is yes, we are looking to add more direct flights in the future. We're always interested in adding more flights, particularly direct flights out of this community to give our flying public more options. And one of the things about having an airport, a regional airport like this, and some of the bigger jets coming in, is the ability to enhance economic development. When people want to come in and look at a community, lots of times they don't want to drive 2 days to get here. They want to hop on a plane and get here. And as it's set up right now, they can do that. We used to tell them, well, they fly to Evansville and then rent a car and drive over here. Now they can fly directly into this community. So that kind of brings me to my next question. Just how important do you think, in your mind, the airport is to economic development in this region, our community specifically in this region? And then tell us a little bit about what I read in the newspaper this morning about the airport selling property. You didn't sell a piece of property right in the middle of the runway, did you?
No, of course not. To your first question, I think the airport's extremely important to the local economy. We are the welcome mat to the community via air. So any potential investors or potential business partners, or even the traveling public to come here to look at our Bluegrass Museum or, the riverfront, we are the welcome mat. We're the first thing people see whenever they step off that aircraft. And we want to really showcase in our terminal what the community has to offer. And like you said, people, whenever they're looking to relocate, they don't want to fly into another community and then have to drive an hour to see where they're looking at potentially building and investing money in. They want to make sure that we are connected to the transportation system. Back to your other question about the property that we sold. We sold some property that was not useful as far as our runways and taxiways go, our airport makeup for the aircraft operations area. It's at the northwestern end of the airport on Highway 81. That was about 10.7 acres. And whenever the airport board decided to sell that, they wanted to ensure that they were being good stewards of the community and helping to serve the community. Since they had elected to sell that property, they wanted to make sure they weren't just selling it to anyone. They wanted to make sure that they were selling it with a purpose, and that purpose was to help economic development. And that's where we set some standards for how we would judge that criteria that was put in the bids for that property, such as how many jobs would that property make whenever the development is completed, how quickly the development would be completed, the average gross of the job, as well as the price of the property. So there was several key critical areas there that the airport board wanted to make sure that they weren't just selling property just to sell it. They wanted to make sure they were selling it with a purpose.
And just for openness and transparency, we were talking about all the money the airport receives from the federal government. The airport also receives some funds from the city of Owensboro and from Daviess County, nowhere near the $1 million. I think it's about $100,000 from each governmental entity for use to keep airport operations going. So what are your goals? Just briefly, tell us what are you hoping to do here in the next 5 years out at the airport?
Certainly. So first off, I want to continue to provide a safe and secure experience for all air travel passengers. I think that's one of the first things that any airport needs to strive to do is to be safe and secure. And that's working with the Federal Aviation Administration as well as Transportation Security Administration, which we do that on a daily basis. Another goal, I'd like to grow the connectivity of the community through an expanded air service, whether that is going out and talking to Allegiant and Cape Air and getting more routes to different locations or a higher frequency to the current locations, or whether that is going to new airlines and going up to them, confronting them, sitting down face-to-face with them and showing them not only what the airport here at the Owensboro-Daviess County has to offer, but also what the community has to offer, and try to pitch them Owensboro as a whole, Owensboro-Daviess County as a whole, and grow air service for the community. I think that will help for the enjoyment of living in Daviess County, as well as connecting families and also economic development growth. Another thing that a goal that I have for the airport is that we want to aid the community in economic growth whenever the airport can be a contributing partner. Not every economic development project requires the airport to be involved, but whenever the airport can be involved, we certainly want to make sure that we're doing everything on our end to facilitate that and be a good steward of the community and be a good community partner. I'd also like to continue to grow the current relationships with our current tenants that we have now and our current corporate partners that we have at the airport, and make sure that we're working towards growth out here at the airport with what we already have.
Okay. Well, goes without saying that the pandemic affected your operation out at the airport this year. Just briefly, flights, number of flights and passenger employment up, down, or about the same?
So yeah, the whole country has felt the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, and the airline aviation industry was obviously affected greatly as well. The airports fared, pretty well. They fared okay. Numbers are starting to see a small increase, where, I think we're actually a little bit ahead of the curve compared to a lot of other smaller communities with our growth. I check the numbers pretty much daily on our employments. And, we are seeing a slight uptick, which is encouraging. It is a huge help that the vaccine is so widely available now. Just a comment on the vaccine is last month, we partnered with Wild Health out of Lexington and FEMA to bring in a vaccination site actually at the airport. And during that, we actually vaccinated 30 different people with their first dose of Pfizer. And then tomorrow, they'll be back to administer the second rounds of doses to the people who received the first dose back in April. Yeah. So that was something that we're proud to be a part of to help fight this COVID-19 pandemic. And the airport is extremely fortunate that our elected officials, passed the CARES and CARISA Act funding to, enable us to get some more funding to help where we had lost some revenue. And that helped get us back to whole, as well as allow us to complete some of these capital projects that we haven't been able to in the past. And in doing so, we'll pump money back into the local economy. So it's going to be, we're extremely grateful to our elected officials for getting us that funding.
Well, Tristan, if folks who are watching today want to find out more about the airport, somebody out there, do you have a Facebook page or something like that where they could go?
Yes, we do have a Facebook page, and we have a fairly large presence on that. We've got about 12,000 followers. So you can just go to Facebook and type in Owensboro-Daviess County Regional Airport. We recently partnered a few months ago with Tanner West to create a new website for the airport as well. And that's something we're very proud of. It's a very fantastic website that really helps the traveling public. It's very easy to follow and to navigate. And that website is flyowb.com.
FLYOWB.com. Well, Tristan, I want to thank you for coming on. I hope to see you many, many more years as you progress in your tenure at the airport. Folks, I want to encourage each and every one, just as Tristan talked about, there's so many different opportunities to get a vaccine. As I've always told folks, if you're a little hesitant, if you have some concerns, talk to your physician, talk to your doctor about those concerns and see if they recommend whether you get a vaccine or not. The face masks, they're uncomfortable. Nobody likes to wear them. Sneeze in a face mask and you got a mess on your hands. Wash your hands, socially distance, particularly from people that you don't know. And try to avoid large crowds, particularly if you don't know their vaccine status. But over the next month or so, you're going to find more and more opportunities to get the vaccine. Let's put this pandemic behind us and say good riddance of COVID-19. Tristan, thank you for being a guest today.
Thank you, Judge.